one shadow judge only. I don't have Zimbabwe. So you guys ready?
Yes.
You ready?
I guess so.
Ready? Okay. So welcome everyone to round 3. So for the first affirmative speech, I invite the affirmative speaker. The time is 6 minutes.
Okay, let's go. Okay, good day to you all. Our motion for today is it is justified to monitor friends and family of convicted terrorists. So in order to start this debate today, we first as an affirmative team have to define the terms. So monitor is monitoring of the financial flows of the friends and family. And friends and family are close acquaintances and blood relatives. So close acquaintances and blood relatives of convicted terrorists or suspects that are already monitored. So terrorists, actually suspect terrorists that are already being monitored by the police, by the government, as every normal suspect. In our case today, we will show you 2 reasons why we chose financial monitoring as the right way. The first of all is why we have the right to monitor the financial flows of friends and family, and the second is what is the benefit from financially monitoring and actually monitoring the close relatives and the friends of the suspected terrorists. So the first argument is the right to monitor. Monitoring, classical monitoring is intrusive, so you need to follow someone, you need to phone tap him, you need to go into his house, search his house, etc. So that is a really intrusive method. This is something we cannot allow that to happen to innocent people. So we cannot allow to intrude in to enter a home of somebody who is innocent, we have no proof that he is guilty, and just go through his things. So that is why the financial monitoring, so the monitoring of the financial flows, in our case, actually in our policy, will be a filter in order to get to the real to the friends and family who are involved and are helping this suspect in order for him to accomplish his goals. So why will we use financial filtering? Because the close relatives and the friends are a critical mass, because they are really close. So everybody, when he has a need, everybody that needs money goes to a friend or goes to a relative and to borrow some money. So the close friends and family are a critical mass because they are able to sacrifice some of their finances in order to help their close friend or relative to accomplish something that he has set his mind to. The second reason why we will use financial monitoring is because we will use it only on friends and relatives who have suspicious financial behavior. So suspicious financial behavior is simple. So let's say throughout a year, a normal person gets paid, pays bills, goes and buys groceries. Okay, maybe he'll buy a house once, he'll buy an apartment, he'll sell an apartment. But suspicious financial behavior will be, for example, if a person sells 3 houses in 1 month, or a person buys 3 houses in 1 month, or a person makes a transaction which is extremely high. So this is suspicious financial behavior monitored by the police. So relatives and close friends which exhibit such behavior, so relatives and close friends which have enormous amounts of transactions of enormous amounts and sell or buy houses or whatever, they will be they have a great risk of we have a great risk for them to give the suspected terrorist the money in order for him to complete his goal. And the last and most important reason why we use financial monitoring is because it is a not intrusive method. So we will use it as a filter. It doesn't intrude into the privacy of these people. It doesn't go into their home. It doesn't intrude on privacy, but it ensures us that we have the right person. Why? Because since you notice because you monitor the suspect generally with the intrusive methods, but you monitor these people not intrusively. But when you see the connection between them, when you see that the person that has sold 3 houses gives this person the money, of course you will classify him immediately as a suspect. So when these people, when the close relatives and friends which exhibit suspicious financial behavior are financially connected with the suspect, we immediately classify classify them as suspects. Actually, that is the job of the police. So when they are suspects, the experts will continue doing the classical monitoring as every suspect as they do to every suspect in the world. So we have the right to use this. Method because it minimizes the risk that innocents will suffer. So it minimizes the risk that somebody who is innocent will have their home intruded or will have their privacy abolished. And the second reason why we do this is the benefits from the monitoring. So the benefits from the financial monitoring are as the benefits from the general monitoring as well. So since monitoring has been used so far, clearly it is an efficient method. So we will use it as a preventive measure. We will use it in order to prevent the terrorists from functioning, and we will use it to increase the security of a country. Because we have the right to use financial monitoring, because it is not intrusive, and because with this filter we minimize the risk of innocent suffering, and because the benefits are great whatsoever, we strongly believe that financial monitoring is justified. Thank you.
1 minute.
So thank you for your speech, but we have some questions. So the first is, what do you mean under convicted?
Convicted is suspects that are already being monitored.
So they are just suspects here.
Yes, suspects. So if you are a suspect, you are
So
being monitored by the
evidence
police.
that they are
No, we are talking about convicted terrorists. So those are the suspects, not the people that will monitor financially. They are not suspects. We will use the financial monitoring as a filter to declare whether they are suspects or they are not suspects.
Terrorists, is he tried? Do police have some evidence?
He's a suspect. He can be tried. He might not be tried. It's really not clearly. I cannot set up.
You say that he's just suspicious, and that's why we should monitor his family. Yes.
He is a suspect, of course.
Okay, so you said that relatives and friends are innocent. So why do we need monitoring then if they are innocent?
Because, like I explained in my first argument, because they are a critical mass, because they are really close and are able and will sacrifice some money in order to give them to the suspect, and because they exhibit suspicious financial behavior in a period of time, they are immediately more suspicious than if they function normally. So a person, if I sell 3 houses, that means that I have, I don't know, 30,000 euros in my pocket, right? I can give them to my relative at any time if I want to, right? So they are really critical, and that is why we need to monitor them financially in order to check their financial status, in order for so we can find out whether they are, so we should classify them as suspects or not. So if he gives the money or the money disappears or whatever, he is more suspicious. But if he he sells 3 houses and gains 30,000, and then he buys a house in Hawaii and spends the 30,000, that will not be as suspicious as if the money magically disappears.
Sorry, but who you are speaking about now? About terrorists or about friends and family?
Friends and families, those who have suspicious financial behavior, friends and families,
okay, so
related to the suspect, become suspects when they when we find out that
Sorry,
they
may I
have
ask you a
financial
question?
connection with the suspect person.
Okay, so is terrorist arrested or not?
It doesn't matter.
Why?
It doesn't matter because okay, if he's arrested, he's not a suspect. He's arrested, so no, he's not arrested. Actually, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 2 minutes, please.
One minute used.
1 minute used. Okay. 30 seconds.
Seconds.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our motion today is, we're speaking today about how justified it is to monitor convicted terrorists. So the main questions I'm going to answer during my speech. Is it just justified to monitor family and friends of the convicted terrorists? And what for do we need to do so? So first of all, I'm going to present you position of my team, which consists of answering the question, and then I'm going to review the position of our opponent. So first of all, our first argument is about just a violation of personal freedom. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a matter of every person how to spend their money. So, actually, if we just monitor their financial transactions without actually any matter, only because they're friends or relatives of a terrorist who isn't even proven to be guilty, who is just a suspect, so we just violate their right for personal freedom. So, ladies and gentlemen, it acts like a presumption of innocence. So we cannot say that people are guilty. We cannot do anything for them. We cannot put them into jail. We cannot apply some punishments for them until we have just a clear evidence of their guiltiness. So what our opponents suggest to do is that we have a person who is suspicious and considered to be a terrorist without he hasn't been tried, he isn't proved to
be a terrorist, and he, as our opponent said, he's already been monitored, which is obviously unjustified and just prohibited because we haven't proven that he is a terrorist. And we have, and they want us just to monitor the financial transactions of his friends and relatives who also haven't been proved to be kind of involved in terroristic attacks. Is it just justified, ladies and gentlemen? No. There, even if this terrorist, after the investigation process, will be tried as a terrorist, they are not responsible for actions of their relatives. Every person in our society is conscious and he understands what he does. So actually, if we just do so, we violate the right for privacy. So the second question I'm going to answer is what for we need to do so. Our opponent said that it doesn't matter actually if the person is tried or not. Okay, but if the person isn't tried, it's just unjust to monitor himself and his relatives. So because we haven't proven his guiltiness, ladies and gentlemen. That's how our justice system works. Because if we haven't proved guiltiness of the person, we cannot do anything because of the presumption of innocence, and that is justice, ladies and gentlemen. And if the person is tried, he has already given all of the information during the investigation and interrogation process. So there's just no point in we just won't get any benefits after of monitoring relatives and friends of the convicted terrorists. So now coming up to the arguments of our opponents. Our opponents said that they have a right to monitor relatives and friends of convicted terrorists, but ladies and gentlemen, once again, our opponents suggest to take a terrorist who isn't proved to be one, who is just considered suspicious without any proofs. And they already said that this terrorist has already been monitored, which means that we already violate his rights to personal privacy without any reason, just because he is suspicious. And without any proofs of guiltiness, we monitor financial transactions of his friends or relatives. But ladies and gentlemen, it just doesn't make any sense. Actually, we have no reason why can we violate rights for personal privacy, both of the suspicious person and especially of his family and relatives, because once again they're not responsible for actions of their relatives. So the second point of our opponents was about beneficialness of this method. As our opponent said that it will act like a prevention measures, like we could find out terrorists. But ladies and gentlemen, if this person isn't tried, if the terrorist isn't tried, so actually he is, and we don't have any proofs, he is just innocent. And if we have some proofs of guiltiness of some person, we just can interrogate him officially. So it is just no point in violating human rights and actually laws, ladies and gentlemen, with such acts as our opponents suggest. So this thing just won't bring us any benefits, because both it is illegal and completely ineffective. Because once again, if this person is tried, we can get all the necessary information that we can get from him during the interrogation process. And if this person just isn't tried and just considered suspicious, as our opponents say, we just don't have any right to violate his right to personal privacy, because, ladies and gentlemen, our society is based on rights. Without rights, a human being is just exist but not live. So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, for all the reasons I have mentioned, once again, because this method violates human rights and we just have no reason why should we do it, and because it is completely unbeneficial, I beg you to oppose the motion. Thank you for your attention.
Hello, are you ready for the cross-examination?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not ready, hold on. Okay.
Okay. Can you tell me what is a suspect?
I don't know. That's for you to know. He may be suspect just because of the color of his skin. So it actually, just suspiciousness is not why we should violate his right of personal privacy and right for personal privacy of his friends, of his relatives, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Well, what do we do with the suspect?
Actually, if person is considered suspicious, we may just interrogate him, but not more according to the international laws, not more than for I guess 36 hours. And if we don't have any proofs, we just let him go, just because it is justified.
So, do we monitor him?
If a person just considered suspicious,
Yeah.
we just have
We monitor a suspect.
If a person is not proven to be guilty, if he's just suspicious without any proofs of his guiltiness, we just don't have right to monitor him.
So no, we're not monitoring.
Actually, if we don't have proofs of his guiltiness, we're not. And if we do, that means that we just violate his right to personal privacy without any reason.
How do we prevent him from doing a criminal act if we know that he's a suspect, but we're not monitoring?
If he's just a suspect, it means, do you know about such thing about presumption of innocence? It says that if a person is innocent until he's proven to be guilty. So if we have proofs of his guiltiness, we can carry out an investigation. And
how are we going to find those proofs if we're not monitoring?
With the help of the investigation.
And what is the investigation?
Please repeat the question. I do not quite understand it.
So can you tell me again what is a suspect?
A suspect is a person who is considered to be dangerous, but it's still to prove his guiltiness. So actually, if a person just is suspicious, we do not have actual proofs of his guiltiness.
So to find the proofs, we have to monitor.
To find the proofs, we don't have to monitor him, we might just investigate the case. So actually, if we think that person
Explain the investigation.
Okay, for example, if you consider a person to be a killer, you may just search for his fingerprints on the place of the killing. So that's how investigation works. But just suspiciousness do not give us right to violate privacy of a person.
Thank you.
No problem.
Let us go.
Ladies and gentlemen, before starting with the refuting and the revilings, I would firstly like to clarify some misunderstandings about the motion. So basically, the negative team stood up and said that it's not fair what are we doing to the convicted terrorist. Well, that is not the question in this debate today. That is something which is already going on. The people are not like simply divided into black and white, innocent and guilty. There is a special category which is called suspects, and this is an extraordinary case, and there are other circumstances which are happening for them. And basically, this is already happening to these terrorists because we are monitoring those who are suspects. If we are monitoring someone who is already guilty, that makes no sense, because if he is proven to be guilty, he is already in jail, so there is no point in monitoring him, and that is why we do monitor the suspects. And that is something which is already going on. So now, the question is, whether the friends and the family of these people should be monitored. And that is what the affirmative team is trying to prove today. Basically, they said two things which about our case. Firstly, that there is not a reason to do it, and second, that there is an intrusion of the rights. We agree that there is an intrusion of the rights, but what we're trying to say is that we're minimizing this intrusion, and this is actually the optimal condition. We're sacrificing this little right of them. Yes, we're going to monitor their financial flows and what are they doing with their money if something suspicious is going on, but that is not something which is so scary. That is a little intrusion of the rights, but the benefits we get are much more bigger, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. So basically, we have a convicted terrorist, and we have his family and his friends. They are the people who are most likely to help them because they're close to him, they're his blood relatives, and we monitor what they are doing with their money. And if everything is going on, normally and okay, because you know how someone spends their money is usually constantly, then nothing is going on. But if we find something which is very suspicious, something like an extraordinary change in the flow of his money, that means that there is a greater possibility that something will happen, and that is when we actually include the full monitoring, because now there is a greater probability that he is actually involved in helping with the terrorists. Of course, that we cannot always guarantee that in 100% of the cases we will be right, but that is why we're using the financial monitoring as a filter in order to minimize the chances that innocent people will suffer. Then again, going on so this was actually about the violation of the personal freedom, but going on to their argument. They said that everybody has a right to spend their money in the way that they want, that we can't say that they're guilty and we can't punish them, and we totally agree with that, and we're not neglecting it. We do agree that they cannot be guilty and they cannot be punished, and we're not doing that. We're just checking whether they are connected to the terrorists and the actions that they get. So we're not denying any right to them until they're proven to be guilty. They're just suspects and they are being monitored. And this is a preventive measure. Preventive measures are nothing new. That is something that is already going on and which is proven to be very efficient. Then again, they said that they're not responsible for what their relatives do, and we totally agree with this, and they won't be tried and they will be prosecuted until they're proven to be guilty. So basically, what we're using this financial monitoring for is a preventive measure to minimize the chances that this terrorist will complete his plans and will complete his actions. And because I have explained to you how is this working, we're going to the benefits. It is already proven that normal monitoring is efficient because it is actually a preventive measure and it hardens the job of the terrorists. It actually destabilizes their organizations, and it makes it harder for them to accomplish their goals, to accomplish their plans. So basically, if we harden their job, if we cut the inflow of money that they get, we're actually really decreasing the chance of them doing something which will harm our society. Because you know, when you plan a terrorist attack, you cannot do it with $10. You need really money in order to make it work. And if we deny them the money, and if we deny them the help that they are probably going to get from their family and friends, then we're actually stopping their plan to occur. And that is how we're protecting the people in our society, and that is how we are increasing the national security in the country. So because I have proven to you how our model that sacrifices a little bit of the rights of those people, of the friends and the relatives to the terrorists, but on the other hand, the benefits are much bigger because we are stopping the terrorists to destroy our society, I beg you to vote affirmative. Thank you.
for a speech, but obviously our team has some questions. Okay, first of all, you mentioned in the speech that you need a lot of money to commit terrorist attack, right?
Well, if you want to do a very big attack, like for example the 9/11 attacks, it's obvious that you need a lot of money, a lot of people, a lot of plans.
So you need a lot of money, right?
Basically, yes.
So will terrorists go to his friends and relatives say, well, you know, dear wife, I need $500,000 to blow up a whole series of gas stations, or will he address to the kind of to his terrorist organization?
If you're banalizing like that, of course, that is not possible. But in real life, it is obvious that the friends and the family can help him reach his goals.
Does every family member or friends have such enormous amount of money that you need to hijack a plane or to buy some explosive devices?
Well, not really, and that is why you're not denying any right to them and you're not convicting them, you're just monitoring them. And those who have a lot of money are trying to help him, then they're suspects, and then you get all the other measures.
Okay, so you do admit violation of rights of the monitored one, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And what bad did these people do in order for them to consider them suspicious or even guilty?
We're not considering them conspicuous. There is a misunderstanding. Okay, can I explain?
No. So if you consider them suspicious, you consider them suspicious without any proof, actually.
We're concerning them suspicious after they make an extraordinary financial transaction, after we follow the money and they do buy tons of potassium, etc. That is when someone is actually suspicious.
Oh, so you monitor people that are not even considered suspicious, right?
In the beginning, yes, we're doing the financial monitoring, and that is
okay.
obvious.
Thank you. And in your speech, you mentioned several times that these practices have proven to be efficient and so on and so forth. So actually, how can you prove this efficiency?
Well, by pure logic, because preventive measures in today's world exist, and they are used when we're talking about, for example, sex abusers in order to abolish recidivism, etc. Preventive measures are used widely in the world.
Okay, preventive measures are effective, and does this kind of financial monitoring is used nowadays?
Well, when you combine these preventive measures and including the financial monitoring,
is it used nowadays?
I'm not sure whether it's used.
So you can provide us with an example where it's used, right?
I can't.
Okay, so how can you say that it is efficient if you just haven't tried it, or how can you say that just with words?
Well, I'm explaining to you that when you will combine these measures with all the already existing measures, then it's logically that you will get a result, or at least you will increase the possibility of getting a better result.
2 minutes, please.
bicycle if you already have a Porsche. So today I want to prove you that the method that our opponents suggest now are not effective, and moreover I want to prove you that it's also a violation of certain rights of the human. So first of all, I'd like to speak about the arguments that concerns the violation of a person's privacy, and then I'm going to reveal to the position of our team with the point that concerns why should we do that exactly. So starting with the points about the person's privacy. If they are just a suspect, our opponents explained us what is a suspect and why should we do that. But exactly, if they are just a suspect, why should we just monitor their relatives if we just do not know exactly if they have proven to be guilty, ladies and gentlemen? In this case, I think that it's not worth doing it, ladies and gentlemen. So then going to the presumption of innocence. We must limit the freedom of a person. We must not limit the freedom of a person until he is breaking a law, dear ladies and gentlemen. If a person is innocent, why should we do that? Why should we violate a person's freedom and go to the injustice and break all the principles of today's democracy, dear ladies and gentlemen? I think that it's not worth doing it right now. And speaking about the individual's rights, every person is an individual, and every person is responsible for his own actions. And even if a person is, relatives and friends are so close to each other, they are responsible only for their own acts. And this do not mean that they may know the right information about their relatives. And in this case, I think that we should not risk with their freedoms to obtain the information that would probably be not right and would lead us to bad consequences, dear ladies and gentlemen. Then, starting with the points that concerns why should we do so. And in this case, I want to repeat that taking into consideration that all the persons that our opponents going to monitor are just suspects, dear ladies and gentlemen. So they are speaking about the suspicious people, we already have methods that are effective, and why should we just implement new methods that have not proven to be effective enough, and they are not used nowadays, dear ladies and gentlemen. And then, also I want to speak about the point that concerns the property of a person. How can we figure out how is person connected with the terrorism or with terroristic acts if we know what is the salary of this person is, or if we know that he has 3 houses, ladies and gentlemen? I think. Do you think that it will be just enough to jail a person if he has already sold 2 houses or just bought a new car? I think that, dear ladies and gentlemen, it won't just enough, and so. And yes, I want to repeat once more that the terroristic acts, speaking about the terroristic acts, it's not so connected with the financing of a person. You know that, speaking about the terroristic organization, as our first speaker asked on the cross-examination, that if a person wants some money, if a member of a terroristic organization wants some money to commit a terrorist act, he will go to the higher member of his terroristic organization, and they will speak about it, and they will find the solution how to find money, and there is practically no connection between their relatives. In this case, I think that it's not true speaking about the relatives, and even more, as I already said, they may not know the exact information about the terrorist actions, about the actions of their relatives, dear ladies and gentlemen. And yes. Yes, I want to repeat once more about the thing about the property. I guess that I've proved so. Moreover, dear ladies and gentlemen, we should the justice today is the basis of our society, and we should not violate the person's freedom in case we do not exactly that it will lead to good consequences and it will lead to the welfare of our society. In this case, the suggestion that is proposed by our opponents is just they are just not sure that it will lead to good consequences because they haven't proved exactly that it's effective enough, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the attention.
How much time do you have?
Yes.
person that is going to blow up someone or to kill thousand persons.
Okay, so terrorists blow up stuff, right?
Maybe yes. Maybe
Okay,
he's
they
going
kill people, they destroy buildings, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, is that bad? Is it intrusion of the right to live, let's say?
Yes, I guess.
Yes, so it is. Okay, so you would agree probably that if by financial monitoring, intrusion of the right of financial safety or whatever, you are going to stop a bombing and killing of, let's say, 100 people. Will you monitor the financial status of, I don't know, your cousin? If you know that your mother will live with it, you will do it, right?
Should do that.
Why not? I mean, you will save your mother and your cousin is a terrorist. Terrorists are bad, your mother is good.
Please repeat the question once.
Okay, so if monitoring the financial flow of a person is going to save 1,000 lives, will you do it?
I do exactly know that it won't save the thousands of lives because it's not effective.
Okay, if
You
it
have
is
to
effective,
prove it.
if it's absolutely effective, 100%, will you do it?
Don't exaggerate.
I'm asking you, don't
I
answer my
don't
question.
think that it's effective. That's all.
If it is effective, will you do it? Of course you will.
Okay, if it's effective, I won't do that. But
Okay,
it's not effective.
do you
right
need the money to buy a plane ticket?
now. Yes, sure.
Do you need money to buy a plane?
Of course.
Of course. Okay, so tell me, if I'm following somebody, do I know where he goes?
Following meaning going.
Yes, going after him. I know where he goes, right? I mean, I'm after him.
Yes.
Yeah, and if he meets somebody, do I know who he's meeting?
No. Why?
Well, I see you shaking hands with her, so I know that
Okay, you just know that it's a man. Why the?
Of course, that's
your name.
yes, but you know that you shook her hand, right? Okay, so if I know that you shook her hand, if I know that he gave you thousands of money, and if I know that, I don't know, you have sold 3 houses, I'm going to interrogate everybody you know. I'm going to use intelligence methods and find out that you actually have a bomb. Will that be the effectiveness of me following you, of the monitoring?
But you mentioned about the financial monitoring, but not about the monitoring.
Well,
of
I
another
said
person.
in our case,
Financial monitoring is another thing.
in our case, you clearly
It's
say
not
that,
what
that
we speak
when you
about.
become a suspect, you are going to be monitored classically. So that means that she is a suspect because she gave you a lot of money, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we, through general monitoring, find out that you have a bomb, right?
But
And we stop you.
you spoke about financial
but-
monitoring, and now you speak about general monitoring.
Okay, sorry,
You don't know what this is
sorry,
about.
but you didn't hear anything we said.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, good day. When you go out from your home and you see a cloud on the sky, you don't know that it is actually going to rain, but it would be very clever to take an umbrella with you. Today in this debate there were a few clash points. One of those clash points is why we have the right to financially monitor. Because if you have a reasonable doubt that they can help a terrorist with money, they become suspects. With the financial monitoring, we are making a filter, and that filter can help us to see if he's a suspect or to see if he is not. And to see if he's innocent. So, the negative team told us that we do not have the right to monitor, to financially monitor the relatives of the convicted terrorists because it will break their right of freedom. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are not. We agree. Yes, we are going to. Break his right, their right of freedom, but that breaking of the rights is minimal because here the ends justify the means. Because the benefits from that breaking of the rights is much bigger. We're going to save innocent lives. We're going to prevent future terrorist attacks, and that is very important for our society. And they say that the general monitoring is bad. Yes, it's bad, but we did not say that we are going to general monitor them. We said that we are going to financially monitor them to see if they are suspects. If they are suspects, then we have the right to general monitor a suspect because suspects are being monitored. General monitoring is helping to gain info if the suspects are guilty or not. Now I'll go to the second touch point. That was the effectiveness of the monitoring. As I said, the financial monitoring will be used just as a filter to see if a suspect is guilty if someone's a suspect, because it is clear that if I'm a terrorist and my cousin is helping me with my future attack, it is clear that he's a suspect who helps a terrorist. That makes him a suspect. And the financial monitoring helped to see what are my future intentions. So with the financial monitoring, is filter that will continue as with other methods of monitoring. But we are just going to use the financial monitoring. At the end, we'll combine all methods. That's why this is effective, because in the end, yes, we're breaking a minimal right, but here with this we help innocent, we save innocent lives, and we are preventing future terrorist attacks which kill many people. That's why I make you to propose this motion.
We have a minute and a half.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you go out, see clouds, you don't know whether it will rain or not. So you will see weather forecast to be sure and whether rather than taking umbrella for nothing. So our opponents want us to violate human rights for nothing, because we are completely sure that financial monitoring is not effective and it will bring us no benefits. So the two main questions were in today's debate were first, should we violate rights, should we financially monitor innocent people, as our opponents agreed that they are innocent? And the second, is it worth to violate human rights for such doubtful effectiveness? So the first, I'd like to start with the first, about innocence. So dear ladies and gentlemen, our opponents said us that these undoubtedly doubtful terrorists, they are just suspects. So we have no prove that they are really terrorists. They said that they are just suspicious, and that's why we should generally monitor terrorists and then financially monitor their friends and relatives. So, do you think it's fair? We think that it's absolutely not, because first, the main point is about presumption of innocence. If the person is not proven to be guilty, we have no right to violate his rights. So, we have no right to monitor terrorists if we have no proof that he is guilty. Therefore, our opponents wanted to say that we will monitor his friends only because terrorist is suspicious. And the second thing is that we are going to violate rights of completely innocent people as they agreed. And they agreed that it's quite normal to violate rights. So, as they agreed with it, I'd like to come to the second class point. So, they agreed that they violate human rights. They said that it's normal to violate human rights. So, and dear ladies and gentlemen, what benefits they were speaking about? They were speaking that if they financially monitor people, we can just know where the person goes and whom do he give money. But dear ladies and gentlemen, terroristic organizations, they are so close that a person who commits terroristic attacks, they don't know who is the sponsor of this terroristic attack, who makes the bomb, who gives you the bomb. So he's just commit terroristic attacks. So even if we are sure that he is a terrorist, financial monitoring would give us no benefits because these people, because as I already said, terroristic organizations are very close, and people from these organizations, they just do not meet with each other. Therefore, dear ladies and gentlemen, financial monitoring, as they wanted to say, is that, for example, a person sold a house and he's suspicious. So, what's the point, dear ladies and gentlemen? Does this means that a person living in democratic society can't sell his house does it mean that he sells his house and he is suspicious? Dear ladies and gentlemen, do you think it's acceptable in our today's world? We think that it's absolutely not. We can't just consider a person suspicious if he sold his house, if he bought a house or something else. So financial monitoring is it's not beneficial, and therefore it violates human rights. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we live in a democratic society, we have our rights, we have freedom, and so, dear ladies and gentlemen, do you think it's worth violating human rights? No, we just should have our freedoms, and that's it. Thank you for your attention.